And welcome everybody to Jamie's Corvette. Excuse me. Going to give you a little bit of information on my Vette experience, which has not been a lot. It's only been since basically the beginning of October, so I haven't had a whole bunch of time to, get in and drive and go around and have lots of fun because it's been so cold. And I do have a little issue with this car, and I'll talk about that later. It's a heating issue. Whatever. Just the odd little funny thing that's kind of going with it. But I'll give you a little bit of information as I kind of just sort of do a walk around. I bought this car for, well, it was just a little bit under $9,000 last year, just the beginning of October. And the car was, it wasn't wrecked to the point where, like anything was, like the body was being smashed or, fenders missing or, anything like that. It was just, it was a dirty, like a, kind of like a real hard black dust dirty kind of car. So I could see that the paint was in, it looked to be in really, really good, well, the best condition I guess it could have been. And like I said, it wasn't clean, so it was really hard to, to get a really good idea of the condition of all of the paint. Sorry, I'm squeezing behind the garage door here. Not working out too good. But, I would run my hand across it, and just, kind of, yeah, it felt like the paint was in, fairly good condition, and it wasn't banged up or anything like that. It was, all that was in great shape. We'll get into the interior in a little bit here, and a couple things that it had that were wrong. Well, it had, it had, like, I guess what you would expect for a car of this age, as far as, scratches and that kind of stuff. It had some spider cracks and really, really thin spider cracks, a little bit, some larger ones, just various places here and there, just scattered about the car. And some lighter, little tiny scratches, longer scratches, deeper, thinner, just whatever. And a 1994 car is going to have some kind of scratches on it. But I like working with waxes and sanding and doing little repairs and things like that. So I said, you know what, I think the car is in good enough shape where, if it runs good enough, and, I had taken it for a couple test runs, and the car mechanically was awesome. It, it had tons of power. I never had anything sort of like this, even though I always wanted one as a kid. Like, I'm like in my early 60s, so, like I was, like in my, young 30s, 30 years old when this car was brand new, right? So it's hard to own, back at that time, what were they, like 30 grand or something to buy them or whatever they were. That's a lot of money for a guy, my wife was at home looking after our two children while I went out and worked. And, I had, a couple jobs that I did. I had a full-time job, I taught music on the side. I did, played in bands. I did all sorts of stuff, to be able to make money. And my wife raised our children to be the beautiful kids that they are. And that's sort of kind of like a little bit of my life history. But anyway, that's not important. What's important is that I always wanted to get a nice, a nice sort of car to work on, something you can ride down the street and say, you know what, that is just really, really cool. That's a cool looking car, it just looks skanky. And it has everything that I'm looking for in it as far as a sports car is concerned. It's got lots of power. It's a great looking vehicle. Like it really, really is. And all you C4 lovers out there, and there are a lot of them, more and more all the time. I can't understand why, some didn't like the C4s. I guess they were different from C3s, and my knowledge of those cars was, of any Corvette was basically zero. Like I didn't know the difference, when I started looking at Corvettes, the difference between a C1 or a C5. So that's where I was at. So I did a lot of learning and stuff, but I wanted to get a car first of all, and I'm one of those weird guys who, you know, I investigate to the point where I say, yeah, I think I'm going to buy it, or no, I'm not going to buy it. And once I do get it, that's when I start getting into, what makes it tick, and, what should I look out for rather than, saying, well, I wonder what it's like owning a Corvette. And, I wonder what's all involved with that. I've never been like that. I like being surprised and things like that. So anyway, that's a little bit about that. Anyway, as far as the car again is concerned, when I bought it, it had it had these chromy wheels sorry for the fingers, it had these chromy wheels that almost kind of looked like a bad version of Krager rims, like, from the 80s. And I still see them on cars. I shouldn't say they're bad. I just don't care for them. I like the Krager idea. I like the Krager design, but those rims, they were just like, I don't know. It's kind of like what were there, 5 like heavy spokes to it or whatever it was. But anyway, I just didn't care for it. And of course, it had bald tires, which were bald, 275/40 R17s all the way around. And so I needed to I wanted, to get the factory, rims for it. I had to get new tires. So, new tires, cost me, what, it was $1,100, and you know what I mean? I can't even remember what the rims cost. I bought so many little things, yeah, for the car, and big things that it's needed. It also needed the windshield in the front, which, from what I understand, talking to a zillion dealers, all over the place. I'm in Canada and in the U.S. I was looking as well, all over the place. That ever since the COVID crap happened, that they're not making these windows for C4 or this particular. I don't know if it's just this year or what the deal is, but couldn't find one anywhere, and I was looking for used, and everybody I talked to, there was, that had one, it was whatever, scraped up, or it had this issue and this issue. And I had, various dealers looking around and said, look, man, if you ever come across a window, like, just give me a call. Well, sure as heck, I got a call. A lady found one in Alberta, Saskatchewan, a brand new one. So I ordered it, and that was awesome. And it also needed weather stripping. Car needs weather stripping anyway. So I bought the weather stripping. I've got, the new weather stripping come down here and around the whole window, and that's good. Plus, of course, the windshield, the one that was on the car, I had a crack, that went right down from the top all the way down to the bottom. And it just, windows in a car are so important. They mean everything, like, I just hate dirty windows or scratched windows or things like that, especially in a car like this. It has to look, if it doesn't look like where people say, wow, that is a great looking car, or whoa, that's in nice shape, it's almost like not worth it. I came with both Target tops, the stock white one, which, I got it sort of 3/4 covered up there, just storing my car in a friend's garage. All this wonderful stuff you see around in these pictures is not mine. So, other than just whatever for cleaning the car and stuff. But he's got lots of tools and things like that. And he's been a friend of mine for many years, but he's got lots of stuff. And anyway, he was kind enough to let me park my car in here this garage, or this winter, so I could do, it needed major detailing. Like I scrubbed and polished and waxed and waxed and polished and polished and waxed and waxed. I can't even begin to tell you how many times, each part on this car, 1,000 times, and eventually, as I was cleaning it and learning about it and stuff, there was, in the paint, in some of the spots, you don't really notice it much at all anymore. It seemed to have a lot of yellowish tinge in the paint, and it's not the original paint. Inside the doors and stuff, that's all original, but it's not the original paint. But it's the paint on it is definitely satisfactory to me, especially after I've done all the work on it. And it's got this beautiful spoiler on the back. Sorry, I'm going to walk around the other way because I can't really get squeezed through the back. It's a nice spoiler. I had a 91 Beretta, and I loved my spoiler on that particular car. So I was happy that this one had one, even though it's like not a stock thing. It's whatever, but that's cool. I love the back end shape of these cars, and I love it that much more with the spoiler. I don't know. There's just, like I say, I've always liked spoilers. It's got a really cool profile, from the back, like this. And the previous versions, I don't know, I think that was at 91 where it had the sort of V-shaped Tail, I think. The bumper was a V. I think. Anyway, if like I say, I'm just still learning a lot about Corvettes and LT1s and things like that. I'm the type of guy who likes some sort of emblem on the car. Now this has got lots of, it says Corvette here. It says, on the wheel caps. It says it inside the car on the mats. In front of the car, and but I like some sort of writing or something that's on the car. So I decided, what can I do to, I don't want it to be big, bulky, and ugly, and but more subtle. So I found these LT1 5.7 liter V8. It's kind of like a 3D metal piece that comes with this great stick-on tape, and it was awesome because it's very, very subtle, and it gives you a nice, it just kind of adds a little bit more to that third dimension of the car. And then from vetlights.com, I actually got these. I needed to get various bulbs for the car. I needed to get the under the hood lights and whatever, something in the whatever inside the interior. But he had these really cool. The sticker that he sent me, and it said vetlight.com, and so it's a very subtle silver. It actually looks way darker on the picture than it actually is. It's a very light gray, and it's one of these kind of decals that just it peels off, and it's attached to the car. I can take my cleaners and not worry about all that kind of stuff, right? So shout out to them, because I'm actually trying to see if I can get a couple more of them, a backup one, and I'd like to have one for the other side as well. I'm just sort of like that. And my wife went ahead and she ordered. I think they're what are they T12s? I think for the front lugs on there, the chromes, because it just had the regular lug nuts, right? And they were all kind of rusted out on the other rims, and it looked just like hell. So, if you're gonna, spend that much money on a rim and a tire, you might as well go ahead and spend the money and get some nice chrome lug nuts, right? So I'll give you just another little shot there, and all the way down to the bottom. Like I say, there was tons and tons and tons of light scratches and things inside here, and I just got it really looking really sharp. I'm gonna have to just hang on. I got a really bad leg, so target tops. Yeah. Now this one here, the black one, it was in fair shape. Like it wasn't cracked or chipped or anything like that. But it had there's a finish that Chevrolet puts on here that's actually a UV protectant finish. And what it looks like when it starts to decompose or break down, it looks very much like a clear coat on a paint job. And we all know what a clear coat looks like when it starts, breaking down and breaking up, and as you got that kind of like, whatever it is that's just rotting on the top. And I was able to get that all off through a series of sandpaper, wet dry sandpaper, anywhere from I started from 600 and went up to 3,000 and sanded it each time, a couple times with that. Maybe an extra time was one of the others, but it doesn't matter. But I got all that crap off, and it's been waxed and buffed and everything since there. So hopefully that's going to protect it and keep it in the kind of shape that it looks now. It just feels like a piece of marble, along with the rest of the car, like the whole car. You know what I mean? It just feels like marble, just absolutely beautiful. So we're going to get into the interior side, and we'll just take a little boo at what the lowdown is inside the car. Okay, as far as the interior was concerned, the seats were, it had seats. They weren't, how can I say it nicely? They weren't decomposed or anything like that. They were just, well used, or, especially the driver one. It's, the foam was broken down a little bit and whatever. So, and since I got it at the beginning of October, I wanted to drive it. So my wife was looking, I was looking, she was looking. She ended up saying, hey, I found these custom seat covers, that are supposed to, completely, wrap around the seat, once in the heat. They were expensive. They were like $550 though. But they are really really nice. They're very heavy duty. You know, they feel really good. So I'm looking forward for them to stretch around completely on the seat. Inside the doors, like, you know, these are all kind of areas that I look at when I'm kind of looking just to see how, you know, things are looking as far as, you know, it's not going to rust, I know, but, you know, things can get broken, all the paint can be hacked off. Like I said, it was very dirty, but, you know, just by rubbing around and stuff, I could say, you know what, I think this car is in like really nice shape, you know, all the way around, you know, and all the panels are good. This window on this side, while I was doing some cleaning on some of my weather stripping here, but it's in really nice condition too. The window on the other side has it's got some scratches on it. It's down because I was doing some work on the weather stripping, but I've got a side window coming for that side, so I'm expecting that. And I've got a new halo trim coming for here and to go around the complete side of the target top there and replace this piece of weather stripping. Um, this black stuff, what it was, is just when I got the car, because it was so chewed out, like I'm kidding you not, it was like there was there was hardly anything there, right? There was still a little bit of rubber here, which is, you know, not it's pretty hard. But you know, I went to the spray wash, and you know, I soaked my wife, and you know, later on I found out why you really shouldn't spray, you know, well, spray these cars. I would rather wash it by hand. But I put on this foam stuff and molded it and closed the windows, and you know what, no water comes in there now. So you know, it's a win. Plus, I'm expecting the new weather stripping to come in a couple of weeks or so. So that will be good. Yeah. So all this was uh, inside or inside the wheel wells and under the car and the motor. You know what I mean? We're really dirty. Especially the front side of well, the whole thing was crazy, but we'll get to that in a moment. So we're still talking about the dash and the inside here. You know, like the mats are in great shape. The carpet, being with this because they are tan seat covers under here, and I chose to keep the tan. You know, this is tan under here, so I've seen some C4s around with tan interiors, but they never had the black carpet. So I'm thinking at one time this carpet was probably changed because, you know, this carpet is like, I kid you not, it looks like brand new, like it really does. It's just, you know, absolutely gorgeous everywhere, you know, and all the way into the back. I got my little vinyl cover there right now. So yeah, so anyway, that's all fine and dandy. Excuse me. Damn leg is so sore. Yeah, so just absolutely beautiful inside the car there. I bought these sill covers, you know, for it. But you look, just look at that, just gorgeous, you know. And plus the doors, when you close them, you know, they don't rattle, you know, completely like off of the frame or anything. The fuel pump needed to be changed because I was having fuel issues, and it turned out to be the fuel pump. So I changed the fuel pump, which pretty much everybody changes a fuel pump on a C4, you know, one of this age. And like the window, like, you know, check out the window. We're getting some reflection from that ceiling, yeah, because it's completely black. It looks like it's a little dusty on there, but it's not. I keep her absolutely just fantastic. Okay, now let's get into the baby. Okay, so I'm going to zoom out a little bit here. Oh, I am zoomed out. Sorry. I thought I had a little bit more room in here. Oh, damn. Sorry with the fingers. I apologize. Okay, so that's what that's all looking like back there. I had to get... See if I just grab my keys. Apologize for the shaking. I'm just going to put this in here for a second. I had to put new... see if these work with the light sources. Have to be on, maybe. Oh, it's got to be on. Okay, sun visors. I had to put new sun visors in because the ones that I had, and like everyone else's that I see, this one half here, this little angled area, they get worn right here and then they just hang. So when you put it up like this, that piece that just flops, you know what I mean? It looks just like hell. I just couldn't stand that, so I went ahead and I got them. They're not too expensive. They were like what, a couple $100 or something like that. All these other lights here in the car under the dash. We're underneath my. Where are they? I think there's one on each side. Yeah, there they are. If it's focusing, for my rear view mirror is good. So yeah, the target top looks just awesome. Now you have this kind of glitter. That's that doesn't come out. I thought that would come out, but you really don't see that outside at all. But you sort of kind of see it a little bit inside when you're inside the car, but you don't see any of that when you're outside the car. It's just gone. And so what else have I got here? Okay. Car wouldn't be complete without dice, okay, especially if you're from my era, because, like I say, I lived in the era of the dice. May the man with the biggest dice win. So whatever. These aren't too big. They're okay. They're okay. This is not the. Oh, I shouldn't say. I don't think this is the original. What do you call it? Tape deck that's in here. I don't think so. But the tape deck, works. Everything works good. Sorry, let me press this here or something. See if I can get my signal light is going. Okay. Geez, I can't even remember how to turn the. Oh, there it is. And that's it. Oh, no. Maybe that's not it. How do you? I can't even remember how to. Oh, there it is. There we go. All right. It should be playing. Oh yeah, there it's going. She's working, so that's awesome. Radio is going. I'm just gonna unplug that for now. Turn it off. Now what I've got on, you'll notice here, I've got a heads-up display. My wife just bought me this just recently because I'm always looking for toys. I like to put a little bit of technology into the car and not go crazy. But this, just runs into your, into your charger, because into your cigarette lighter down there. And I've got my wire, and I just actually got this. I have to wire it in. I've sort of got it tucked in where it comes around, and it goes underneath all this. I have to take out my cluster anyway because I have to clean the cluster window behind because it's got some little marks or something like that. So I still got to do that. So if there's the odd wire hanging there, that's what that's all about. And then it comes underneath right through here, and it's just whatever. It plugs into my cigarette lighter, and it's all this is all connected with satellite. It comes with it's almost like a phone cover, that you'd cover your phone, except just a little bit bigger. And you actually put it on your window because you get a little bit of double imaging on there. And that little cover that goes on there makes it completely 100%. 100%. Just, you can see how it has a little bit, that double reflection there. My eyes are not that great, so this setup works great for me anyway, right? And when I sit back, it's from my point, it sits right down on the dash, right on the corner there, and I can just see it on the, sitting at the corner on the white paint there. You can move it around, put it wherever you want, adjust the angle of it, whatever. Make it bigger, make it smaller. I tried putting the little decal on there, but I ended up accidentally getting my finger caught on it, and then when I put it on, there was a fuzz, of course, right dead center in the middle, and I was trying to clean out the air, and I got this fuzz, and I ended up pulling it off, and then trying to take that off, and I ended up screwing it up. So I'll probably maybe think of getting another one, or maybe not. I might just leave it like this because from the outside, you can actually see the little clear decal that sits on the outside, but it also prevents anybody from the outside to see what this is as well, because this is shining reverse on the window, right? So people would see a green light in their rear view mirrors. And so that's basically what that is. I got my lights turned down really low. Right. That all goes up nice like that. I wonder if I can just quickly... I have the car door garage closed, so I'm going to start it a little bit later on. But it's just, yeah, just sounds great. Hasn't been running in a while, so I just, yeah, start it up and let her go. And I will do that once I open the garage door. I don't want to go to sleep for a long time in the car. And I was able to get all this working. This whole assembly here with the armrest all the way back was all kind of smashed up. And I had to order in this new piece. Because it was, you know, about 15 pieces. It didn't have any of this little cover. That was all smashed. All this was bare open, you know, and there was just, you know, junk in there, you know, your regular, you know, what you're going to find in a used car, right? You know, pieces of plastic and, you know, the odd loony and a wrapper and this and that and somebody's straw and a whole bunch of garbage. Just like the same in here, right? And I was able to clean that all out and get that all aligned properly. And that's got all my codes and stuff back there, which is good to have. And my light is working here. I'm actually getting going to get an LED light as well. I'm just waiting back to hear from eventlights.com, see if they've got one of those. So that's all will be awesome. And the steering wheel is in really, really good shape. There's nothing loose on this. Okay, this is all good. So it hasn't got that problem where guys are yanking on it and things like that. I have to drop that, I guess, to take my cluster out, but yeah, that's okay. And yeah, the other seal is right here. Yeah, like I say, the GM stuff, like, check it all out. That's all, you know what I mean? This is about 30, because this is 96, 2006, 16, 2004, 14, 20, 14, 20. Yeah, like 31 years old, if my math is right, and it may not be. But isn't that awesome down there? And all of this is good. I was experimenting just a little bit with this light. I got to take this off because my the window is coming for here that I have to put on. All the windows work awesomely. The mirrors work, everything, especially this secondary mirror that I had to buy because of my problem. I was doing some work and by accident, make a very long story short, I ripped the damn thing out. And if you've ever seen behind the back of these mirrors, well, Google it. There's a lot. There's a lot involved with trying to get that back on. And I thought I had lost one of the pins. There's a couple pins. It's a long story. I won't get into that. Okay, and well, I'm in here. I'll just go ahead. I'm gonna pull the hood. Excuse me for all the banging. And we're going to get to that. But first of all, I'm just going to get, to my hatch. I want to just show you my hatch in the back. Because my hatch is beautiful. I've got the little cover on here. Yep, so it's absolutely just great. I keep my Kleenexes here because I got a real allergy problem on those. You know, whatever. Actually, I got 2 boxes of Kleenexes in there. I didn't even know I had an extra box of Kleenexes. See, pays to make a video just on your car. I put in, you can't see, I guess, but if you can see a little bit there on the top, I did put in new speaker. I covered with, I got a special cloth and covered my speakers. I didn't really care for, you know, the way they were sort of plated and the way they were. So, you know, like I said, a 70s guy. Remember on the, you know, the 70s cars where you had the fun fur going all the way across the back window and you had your Jensen 16x9 speakers or whatever. And at the very back window, right at the bottom of the window inside of the car was where you kept your Kleenex, where you could never, ever get it in a million years. Why did everybody keep their Kleenex in the back of their cars? I'll never understand that. And everybody did. It's ridiculous. Everybody did. Okay, well, let's take a look under this brute here. Oh. Yeah, okay. I've got my lights disconnected, but I could probably hook them up and just, I know everybody's seen this kind of stuff a zillion times, but I can hook them up quickly and just say, yep, oh, look at that, there's one. I actually got my battery charger on because with it not being run, it's important to, you know, just to make sure that the thing stays up and running. Okay, so when I got the car, it had one light cover, and it was glass and no lights. I had no lights. So, in investigating, I found out, that originally they were plastic covers, with these fused sort of bulbs, whatever, and they got very hot. And there was some kind of I don't know if there was a callback or a recall or something, or they had to change them. Vet owners had to change them because these are now glass, okay? Because they were melting and, whatever. When you're working on your car, they get really, really hot. So these LED ones now, which are available that I've gotten here, they're 10 times as bright. They take, 1/10 the power, and they last a million times longer. And you can have them. You can have them hooked up, but whatever. Doesn't matter. So I had to get 2 bulbs, and I had to order a glass cover, which I did. Cost me $100 just to order one of these glass covers, $97 or something with shipping, and then to find out that it wasn't working. What the hell's going on? It's not working. It's not working. It's not working. So I had ended up when I was ordering these, I just happened to order an extra fuse and an extra mercury switch just to have on hand, just whatever. Just I was like, I might as well get one of these. Get one of these. So anyway, to make a very, very long session, because it took me 2 days, and I was screwing around. What happened is when I put the second bulb, when I was trying to put in the second LED bulb to push it into the housing, I was pushing, and the whole thing inside behind the plastic that supports, the metal housing and all that, and the mercury switch where all that holds, it all collapsed because it was so old and rotten out. So I had to go ahead and I had to order this whole inner assembly here. That cost me, I think it was $157. And it came, the guy sent a bulb. The bulb worked, but he sent, it had a mercury switch in it, which didn't work. So I had, thank God, I had ordered one previously to that. So I had a mercury switch, so I stuck it in there, and voila. That's finally all working. But boy, you know what? You make a long story short, right? It was a story. So headlights work awesome. No problems with the gears. Nice and quiet. Flip up, flip down. Everything is great there. I've got I've done tons and tons and tons and tons of detailing in the car, in everywhere. Like the suspension. Everything is just I just went. I did it to the nines. All the aluminum pieces, everything is all completely done. This was so dirty. These areas here were so bad, filled with rock solid gunk. Okay, I kid you not, rock solid gunk. You can see this one a little bit better because I got a little bit more light coming under here. But it was brutal. You know what I mean? And I got all that stuff is nice and clean. I did a lot of polishing on a lot of these metal parts as well. Everything is all completely perfect inside the wheel wells as well. And then plus I did lots of cleaning on the motor, on various parts. And, even going as far as, just, putting a little bit of polish on some things. And like I said, the aluminum parts I polished. And the car, it runs really good. The motor runs really, really good. It has a couple little problems I'm going to tell you in a moment here. And I did lots and lots of work on the hood, because it was, you would never know it, but it was really lightened out in the middle. The wheel wells inside there, they were so dirty and gunky, and there was paint in there from something or looked like paint and residue, and it was sick. You know what I mean? But everything was there. That's why I bought the car, because I said, you know what, everything is there. It's not missing any parts. So. And with it running the best that it did, running like the way it was here, when I got it, I said, man, it has just over 100,000 kilometers on it, or 100,000 miles on it. So is that bad? I don't know. I hear guys thinking, that's a lot. That's high mileage. up here in Canada, people are driving cars. Now, of course, this is a classic car, but uh, I think this will probably run longer than any car. I've got a 2020 Mitsubishi. I can't see anybody running that up to 300,000 kilometers, you know what I mean, or more, because I've had cars that have had 300,000 kilometers that ride, that ride perfectly fine. And so when you see 100,000 kilometers, I sold last year, 2004 PT Cruiser that I had. It had 140,000 kilometers, and you advertise those cars as low mileage because they hit 300,000 and 400,000. So having 100,000 on here, as far as I'm concerned, is and the motor runs in perfect, just perfect, other than these two problems that I'm going to tell you about. I have a little bit of a heating problem. Okay, now the day I bought this car, it was a fairly nice day at the beginning of October, and so me and my wife decided, we're going to take it out for a ride, and it was nice during the day and everything. And then that night it was getting cold already at that time in Canada here in Saskatchewan. Like in the winters, we just got out of a -40 period where it's been that cold for weeks and weeks, and it gets like that all the time. Uh, but anyway, I was getting it licensed that night, and it was nice and cozy and warm in the car. My wife was in the car, and it took me about 20 minutes to finish up with the dealer that I was doing there. And when I got back into the car, like I had noticed, it had dropped severely in temperature. Like I put my hand over, the front dash, and it's not blowing. It's just blowing like, just sort of like not cold air, but just sort of like room temperature air right now. And I say, what the hell happened? And I'm thinking, well, maybe I'm low on antifreeze. First thing that would hit my mind was that I'm low on antifreeze, and so I go over to the garage and I check my antifreeze, and the antifreeze is good, and so what the heck can it be? Well, it must be my thermostat because I've had troubles like that before in the past. So I ended up ordering a thermostat, and the problem still didn't go away. But it wasn't the exact thermostat for the car. So I said, well, it's not the exact thermostat. So I ended up ordering the exact thermostat, and it still didn't make a difference. Okay, so now I'm getting into, okay, what's the problem now? Do I got a heater core issue? Is the heater core plugged? What's really weird is that it was running perfectly, and then just suddenly, slowly stopped blowing warm air that night. And I haven't been able to get it to blow hot air since. So when I drove it, for that couple of weeks where I was able to drive it at night, it was friggin' cold inside the car because it was, -6, -8. I think one night it was -10 or something like that. And that's cold outside. So, uh, whatever. So that's where it's sitting right now. So I don't have hot air. And I know that the temperature gauge and all the sensors are working right correctly in the car because I've already gone through those tests. And you know what I mean? My fan will come on at, I think, at 200, is it 220 degrees or 217 degrees or something, and whatever comes on up. Yeah, and it'll take it down to like 205 before it shuts off. And all that is working fine, and the car doesn't overheat. It just doesn't blow hot air. Now, I don't think it's a, uh, a head gasket thing because I think if a car's got a blown head gasket, it's not going to run very good. That's just what I'm thinking because I've seen head gaskets before, that have been, completely torched, but they've actually like blown holes inside the heads and, shit like that, or the cylinder colors or whatever that is under there anyway. So I don't think it's that. So I'm thinking it might just be a plugged heater core, or it could be something else that I don't think of. Like all the tubes seem to get hot everywhere, So I don't know. I'll have to get more in depth in it when I'm able to really drive the thing and feel around and So yeah, that's what's been going on with that. So if anybody knows anything about that, maybe you can send me a message. It's got from what I understand, the proper cover here to add and everything like that. And my fill tank, is good. It's half full, and all of the levels in as far as the brake fluid, transmission fluid, oil, all that stuff was just like crystal clean. Like the transmission is just fluid is just like red, just beautiful red, and And the brake fluid is clean. It has no stink, no smell. The oil is cool. It's as clear as gold. You know, it's just everything is good like that. So just those couple little issues there that I have, or that one issue. The other issue is we've all heard about the rank OptiSpark. Okay, everybody's heard about the OptiSpark. Everybody said if you want to buy a C4, don't buy it because it's got an OptiSpark. Speaking of, outside, all these lens covers and stuff, they were so cloudy as well. Like I said, but they weren't broken. They weren't cracked, right? They were just cloudy. So I sanded them all up and they all, they all look like brand new and they're so bright, they're so bright when I have the car on. Yeah, so it's just all beautiful like that. So what happens when I'm driving the car, just to give you a little different look, because I've been showing you my engine for the last while. When I'm actually driving the car, there's been some times, just going to unplug that for now. There's been some times where I'm driving the car, for 10, 15 minutes, and it'll just stall. Most times it just starts right back up again, and there's been the odd time where it hasn't started and I've had to wait and wait and wait and wait. And that's when I thought my fuel filter was a problem because the car wasn't getting any fuel anyway because I had a big starting issue. At first, as soon as I got the car, that's when everything started, right? But I changed the fuel filter, or sorry, not the fuel filter, the motor, the pump, and the fuel filter. That was all black, everything like that. So, yeah. So I have that little issue now. And it only does it here and there. It doesn't do it all the time. And 80% of the time, it just starts right back up. And it'll only do it once. If I'm driving around for a half an hour or 20 minutes or something, and that happens to do that, then I, just start it up again. I can drive for the rest of the night, and nothing happens. It just drives perfectly, normally, fine, and it just goes on and goes on. Won't do it, for another 2 days or whatever, 3 days. Then it'll do it. You know what I mean? It's just the odd time, after 10 minutes, 15 minutes. Very rarely will it do it after you've been driving for more than 15, 20 minutes. I don't think it's ever happened. It's always in that first, 0 to 10, 15 minutes kind of thing. And, yeah, so I'm not sure if that is the OptiSpark. I don't know. I know there's all sorts of different fuel things, and I haven't checked my fuel filter yet. I haven't gotten there, but I'm sure if it's like any condition that was underneath the car, oh my goodness gracious Lord, it was brutal. It was so brutal. My back, my spare tire pan, you know what I mean? Like, there was more, I got more gravel out of that than my kid's sandbox. And that's the spare tire that I had. And it was basically hanging out of the back of the car when I got it. We looked and we said, oh, it's got this funny kind of bolt thingy. And you know what I mean? Okay, well, the cover goes up and all that, but there's something wrong with this bolt and why this bolt thing is doing that. So I just got to get a new, I have to get a new tire for that and clean it all up and get my spare back on. But yeah, so, because I've been under the car. I've done so much detailing underneath the car. It's actually insane how much work that I've actually done inside the car and under the car, to the car, and in the interior of the car. So it's been that kind of a project for me. So I think I'm just gonna close the head or the windshield, not the windshield, this puppy down if I can. For now, and looky, the lights go off. This hood alignment is done really nice. I just have to push it like that, and both sides go in perfect. So, yeah, and the rims, these are another problem. They were another set of 4 problem children. Took me weeks to get them up to the shine that I have them now. I use so much polish on them, and by hand and with a Dremel, and with a big buffer and stuff like that. It's insane. So, and I know that aluminum wheels, they don't shine like chrome, but you can get them almost to be almost as nice as chrome, but they've got that extra dimension to them that chrome wheels really don't have. And especially in the saw blade idea, I don't know if you noticed on the other wheel, I have two of these right rims. So the rim on the opposite side of the car looks like it's on backwards. The sawmill goes in the reverse direction. That's the way they were when I bought them, and I didn't know. I didn't even notice that, and nor was I told that. So, but you know, when you buy things, you know, used, that's just the way it is, right? You just take it and grim and bear it, and then it's fine. And yeah, aside from everything else, it's a beautiful car. I love the car. I love the looks of the car. You know, I love the way the car sounds. I love the way it drives. I love the lights. I love the pop-up lights, you know, because all that works just absolutely perfect. So I might even start the car for a few minutes before I sign out, and just I don't know, maybe shut the lights off or something like that. So we'll hang on for a sec. So I'm going to attempt to take out my instrument cluster because I have to clean behind that glass because there's some spots from maybe somebody had added a light or some kind of repair or whatever. But you know, there's spots sort of kind of like all over the plastic that covers the gauges. So I'm gonna give that a try. Okay, I just opened up the garage door a little bit. I can get back here and yeah, I gotta pull that cluster out because in the daytime, I remember when there's sun coming into the car, like if you look down here, see those little tiny spots? Yeah, that's all behind the cluster. So, I don't know, maybe at one time somebody was servicing something, or there was a light burnt out, or who the heck knows what, but you know, if you're gonna blow your nose, do it in a handkerchief, you know what I mean? Or a Kleenex or something, you know, wipe the damn cluster off, you know, get out some nice fine linen and wipe that sucker clean. So now I gotta do it. So all over the plastic that covers the gauges. So I'm gonna give that a try. Okay, and I was able to route my HUD display. I still have to push it into these side tracks here, but it all comes down to here, and now it's all behind everything there, and I brought it out right to the bottom right here, so I could just go ahead and just plug it in, and then I've got my heads-up display, so we'll let that boot, and as you can see, you can just move it around, like however you want to move it around. Sorry, that was a bad example of that. You gotta move it around, if you see what I mean. Put it where you want, closer, up and down, backwards, sideways, you know, wherever you want to have it. Yeah, and then so it's there. I keep it right there. So it looks awesome. Yeah, so I'm just happier. Pig sniff that I did this, and you know, it wasn't the easiest job for me. I don't know if they've used or previous owner or owners. I have no idea. I don't even know how many owners this car's had, but like all the screws that coming in the bottom of the paneling down here in these areas and off to the side, these were all sort of different sized screws. So I watched the video as I did it, and you know, of course my screws didn't line up exactly with what they had. The screws, you know, around the gauges, you know, that all worked out fine. And then there's a metal plate that's underneath here that was a bitch to get in for me. And then behind that, you have to drop your steering column. And I did that, not thinking about how hard it's going to be to get back up, because that steering column is heavy. It's really heavy. So it took me a long time, and you know, I had the thing trying to get my head, you know, under between the seat. You know, I guess I could have taken the seat out. You know, that might have given me a little bit more room, but, you know, like I say, I'm kind of, I don't know, I like to make things hard on myself, I guess, but anyway, yeah, I kind of had my shoulder underneath the steering wheel trying to lift it up, and my body stretched kind of sideways, you know, to get underneath the dash, and like I said, it was not fun for me at all, so, but anyway, I'm sure glad I did it, because when you drive in the sun during the daytime, and like I just noticed this just before, remember, I only had a couple of weeks to drive this car. I didn't, you know, it's been parked for the last 4 months, and I've been working on it, you know, detailing and working and this and that, and watching YouTube videos on Vets every day, you know, and C4s, well, not all, well, like on all Corvettes in general, but, you know, paying a lot of attention to the C4s, and, you know, the LT1 and things like that, and I watch various other films or videos, but it's nice to be able to see the exact car that you're working on, because it makes it a little bit easier to figure out, when you're trying to do that. So anyway, I'm glad I was able to get that done. And then when the sun comes in, I'm not going to have those blotches, because man, I hated that. And I said, you know, how am I ever going to get those blotches off there? Like, I'd never ever dreamt in a million years that I would go ahead and start ripping the cluster, you know, out of my car, you know. And like I said, it's thank goodness for YouTube and the videos that everybody posts, because that certainly does help. The only thing it doesn't do is give you an extra hand, right? I only have 2 hands, and I'm an old man, and things are a little bit harder for me maybe than they were, you know, when I was younger. So, but anyway, yeah. So sorry about the fingers. Beautiful car. I love the C4, and I'm really looking forward to getting, you know, some footage of this car when I'm riding it, and things like that. You know, just getting it out and get some different angles of the car and things like that, because it really truly is such a beautiful car, and I'm so glad I got it. It's just wrong time, man. It's been parked for nearly 4 months, and, you know, I'm just chewing my nails off. So you can imagine, you know, just the anticipation for me wanting to get out there and drive my Vet with my big dice. Pair of 3s. All is good. Take care.